For every live-action cartoon adaptation that made fans say, how did they nail this so perfectly? There's one that made them wonder if the creators had ever actually watched the original show. Starting with what might be the most universally despised cartoon adaptation ever made, The Last Airbender. When M. Night Shyamalan announced he was adapting Avatar: The Last Airbender in 2010, fans were cautiously optimistic. After all, how hard could it be to translate one of the greatest animated series ever made? The answer apparently was very hard. From the moment the first trailer dropped, warning signs were everywhere.
Some believe he is the chosen one.
The pronunciation of character names was completely wrong. Aang became Ong. Iroh became Ero. But fans hoped these were just minor issues that wouldn't affect the overall quality. They were wrong. So very wrong. The film managed to compress an entire season of rich character development into 103 minutes of wooden dialogue and emotionless performances. The bending, which was fluid and dynamic in animation, became slow, choreographed dance routines that barely produced tiny pebbles. The backlash was legendary. Fans didn't hold back.
I should have been lost 100 years ago. This isn't my time or my world. I can save my world. I can save this one.
This movie made me appreciate how perfect the cartoon was. And I've never seen a movie miss the point of its source material this badly. The film currently sits at a devastating 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. But what made The Last Airbender so painful wasn't just that it was bad. It was that it completely misunderstood what made Avatar special. The humor, the heart, the character relationships that fans loved were stripped away, leaving behind a hollow shell. However, while Shyamalan was busy destroying childhood memories, the creators of the live-action Scooby-Doo movies were doing something unexpected. They were actually having fun with the source material. When the first Scooby-Doo movie hit theaters in 2002, nobody expected it to be good. Live-action adaptations of cartoons were relatively new, and the concept seemed doomed to fail. Instead, James Gunn's script embraced the absurdity. The movie didn't try to make Scooby-Doo realistic or gritty, it leaned into the cartoon logic, the character archetypes, and yes, even the terrible puns. Matthew Lillard's Shaggy was so spot on that he eventually became the official voice actor for the character.
You stay here, I'll be right back!
No, Shaggy.
I mean, it's too dangerous.
Fans were pleasantly surprised. I went in expecting to hate this, but it actually gets what makes Scooby-Doo work. And Matthew Lillard is Shaggy. No one can convince me otherwise. The success came from understanding that some properties work best when you don't take them too seriously. The movie knew it was silly and celebrated that silliness instead of running from it. But celebrating silliness is exactly what the 2019 live-action Lion King forgot to do. While technically not based on a cartoon but rather Disney's animated classic, the live-action CGI remake stripped away everything that made the original magical. The photorealistic animals couldn't express emotion the way animated characters could. Iconic scenes like "Can you feel the love tonight?" became awkward moments where realistic lions attempted to convey romance without any of the charm or expressiveness of animation.
Must take your place in the circle of life.
The voice acting, despite featuring incredible talent like Donald Glover and Beyoncé, felt flat compared to the original performances. James Earl Jones returning as Mufasa was the only element that felt like an improvement rather than a pale imitation. Fans were divided, but mostly disappointed. This made me realize how much emotion you can lose when you prioritize realism over storytelling. And I felt nothing during scenes that used to make me cry. The Lion King's failure highlighted a crucial problem with many live-action remakes: the assumption that realistic automatically means better, even when realism works against the story being told. Speaking of missing the point, there are two honorable mentions I just couldn't leave out, starting with the 2009's Dragon Ball Evolution. Everything about Dragon Ball Evolution was wrong. Goku, the alien warrior raised on Earth, became a high school kid dealing with bullies. The iconic orange gi was replaced with generic action movie clothes, and somehow they made Piccolo look like a rejected Power Rangers villain. The film condensed decades of world building and character development into a generic teen action movie. That felt more like Twilight meets Mortal Kombat than Dragon Ball. The fighting choreography was slow and uninspired, completely lacking the energy and impact of the anime's epic battles. The reaction was devastating. This movie made The Last Airbender look good by comparison, and I've never seen source material disrespected this badly in my entire life. Dragon Ball Evolution became such a disaster that screenwriter Ben Ramsey publicly apologized to fans 7 years later, admitting he failed them. That's how bad it was. Even the people who made it couldn't defend it. The movie's failure demonstrated that star power can't compensate for fundamental misunderstanding of beloved characters. But star power combined with genuine understanding can create magic, as proved by Netflix's One Piece live-action adaptation. When the series was announced, fans were terrified. Anime and manga adaptations have an even worse track record than cartoon adaptations. However, the creator Eiichiro Oda's heavy influence in the production showed from the first episode. The cast was pitch perfect, with Inaki Gadoi capturing Luffy's infectious optimism and determination without feeling like a caricature. The series understood that One Piece's heart lies in the crew's friendship and dreams, not just the action sequences.
But I can destroy everything you built.
Each character's backstory was handled with care, and the emotional moments landed just as hard as they did in the original. The fan response was overwhelmingly positive. I can't believe they actually did it. They made a good live-action anime adaptation. And this proves that with enough care and respect, any source material can work in live action. One Piece succeeded by treating the source material as something to be honored rather than something to be fixed or updated for modern audiences. The opposite approach was taken by Disney's 2025 live-action Lilo and Stitch, which tried to recreate the magic of the beloved 2002 animated film, but ended up highlighting exactly why some movies shouldn't be remade.
Lisa?
Yes.
Naka, Baba Lisa?
Yeah.
No. Pizza so, maja sengi ba. It's a bam 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 bam. And then it's a
No.
From the first trailer, fans immediately noticed the uncanny valley issues with Stitch's CGI design. The character looks simultaneously too realistic and not realistic enough, losing the charm and expressiveness that made him iconic in the original animation. But the visual issues were just the beginning. The film's attempt to modernize the story by adding unnecessary subplots and updating the references felt forced and disconnected from the original's timeless themes about family and belonging. Fans were not holding back. They took a perfect movie and made it worse for no reason. And CGI Stitch looks like he's judging me for watching this remake. Lilo and Stitch's failure showed that some animated films work specifically because they're animated, and no amount of modern CGI technology can replicate the heart and soul of hand-drawn characters. But understanding source material is exactly what made the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot such a divisive entry in the franchise. Michael Bay's production brought massive budgets and modern CGI to the heroes in a half-shell, but fans were split on whether bigger actually meant better.
Shredder.
The Turtles' new designs were controversial to say the least. Gone were the lean, athletic ninjas from the cartoons, replaced with hulking, nostril-heavy monsters that some fans found unsettling. But what really divided audiences was the tonal shift toward explosion-heavy action, over the cartoon's balance of humor and heart. However, the movie did get some things right. The Turtles' brotherhood and distinct personalities were intact, and the action sequences were undeniably impressive. Fans were genuinely torn. The Turtles look weird, but at least they act like the Turtles. Versus, this feels more like a Transformers movie with turtle costumes. The 2014 TMNT proved that sometimes an adaptation can be technically competent while still feeling like it's missing the soul of what made the original special. It wasn't a complete disaster, but it wasn't the slam dunk fans hoped for either. Fans certainly didn't know what to hope for when Warner Bros. Announced a live-action Pokemon movie, 2019's Detective Pikachu. Fans were understandably terrified.
It's not working. I forgot how to use my power.
After all, they'd been burned by bad adaptations before. But Detective Pikachu did something revolutionary. It made Pokemon look realistic without making them creepy. The designs walked a perfect line between recognizable and believable, with Pikachu's fluffy fur and expressive eyes capturing the character's charm while existing in a real-world setting. Ryan Reynolds' voice work as Pikachu was inspired casting that nobody saw coming, but everyone loved. His deadpan humor perfectly complemented the film's noir detective story, creating something that felt fresh while still honoring the Pokemon universe. But what really made Detective Pikachu work was its genuine love for the source material. The world building was incredible, showing Pokemon integrated into everyday life in ways that felt natural and thought out. From Pokemon street performers to construction workers using Machamps, every detail showed care. Fans were ecstatic. I can't believe they actually pulled this off. This is how you adapt Pokemon. And Detective Pikachu proves that with the right approach, any property can work in live action. The film succeeded because it didn't try to make Pokemon more mature or realistic than necessary. It embraced the whimsy while treating the world seriously, showing that you can have both fun and quality. Whether it's Scooby-Doo embracing its silliness, One Piece honoring its heart, or Detective Pikachu celebrating their uniqueness, the best live-action adaptations work with their source material, not against it. The worst adaptations like The Avatar seem embarrassed by their cartoon origins and try to make them more serious or realistic, missing the point entirely. Which live-action cartoon adaptation made you want to throw your popcorn at the screen? And which one surprised you by actually being good? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because apparently Hollywood is never going to stop making these, so we might as well talk about them.